Hi, Joy. Hi, Joyce. Rebecca. Can everyone hear me? Awesome. Some days, yesterday I recorded a video 4 times because I forgot to turn on my microphone. Literally. 3 times in a row, I forgot to turn on my microphone. So it was not a good day. So I always want to check and make sure you guys can hear me. Don't even ask about the video I uploaded this morning. In the Prophet Society, the video on validating before designing. I edited the video wrong 4 times. The first 2 times, I don't know how I did it, but I attached a video about the Pun and Profit Design Lab to the validation video. It was just, yeah. The last 24 hours for videos for me has not been successful. So, it is what it is. In the end, it did, Rebecca. It did turn out good in the end. It took me quite a while to get there, but we got there. We got there. But we're a little early, so we'll give others a few minutes to show up. How's the weather where you guys are at? It's been raining here, I think, going on 3 days now. I'm about over it. Not heavy rain, just, enough to make it miserable. Just crappy, cold, blah. But crazy enough, I think they said Tuesday of next week, it's supposed to be something like 75. So who knows? Yeah, hopefully Tuesday we'll hit like 75, 78. But it's only going to be for like a day. Then it's going to go back into the cold again. But spring is coming. Spring is coming. Are you, Joyce? Ugh. We're not getting snow. It's just, we're in the mid 40s and just rainy and blah. Crappy. Just crappy, miserable, cold, rainy weather that I do not like at all. I do not like it. I am ready for 75, 80 every day, sunny. But I don't think I'll get that daily for a while yet. I'm impatiently waiting. Impatiently waiting. Definitely not patient. Not when it comes to warmer weather. I'm never patient waiting for that. I absolutely despise winter. I would be perfectly happy if I never saw winter again. I should, but we have she just turned 5 in February. A 5-year-old granddaughter who has honestly never lived without us. When she was born, we were still going to Florida for the winters. But the winter she was born, my daughter-in-law ended up getting cancer. So we were only gone like 4 weeks until we came home. So she didn't even know. She was only like 3 weeks old. And so we came home right away. And since then, we haven't been able to go back to Florida over the winter because then my son and her mother ended up splitting up. So we share a house with our son. So we have shared a house with our 5-year-old granddaughter since the day she was born. And she cannot function without us for even a day. So we really can't take off to Florida anymore for entire winters like we used to do. Believe me, I wish we could, but my daughter-in-law that had cancer is fine now. She went through treatment. Everything is perfectly fine. So, and yes, it would be. Well, she, we all went on vacation in October, and even she said all winter long, it's too cold here. Let's go back to Florida. So, but yeah, the only way we can go to Florida now is if she goes along, because she is not tolerating us going without her. And she sees commercials now on TV for cruises, and that's what she says she wants to do next year. She wants to go on a cruise. We shall see. Maybe we'll book a cruise for winter next year. But alrighty, so it is 2 o'clock, and today I thought we would just play around in KITTL for a little bit. It's been a while since I've done a video specifically about KITTL, and they have really made a lot of cool changes over the last several months. They've added a lot of features. I know I've done videos on the KITTL Flow with the smartboards and stuff. Those are great, but I just thought we'd play around in here and I don't know, maybe do some designs, maybe make some of the patchwork designs that are super popular right now. They are. Hi Elaine. Hi everybody. So first I thought we'd just go over KITTL in general, because like I said, they have changed a lot of stuff over the last several months. They've added a lot of different features. So let me open up, come over here on the left, KITTL for Dummies. That's you. There you go. That works. But really not. I mean, there's a lot that goes on inside KITTL. There's a lot of tools, a lot of things they have, and it's not, let's just put it, it's not as easy as Canva. Let's put it that way. But, it is what it is. So, the first thing I want to show you guys is the menu over here on the left. And this is something that I think a lot of people overlook in KITTL, and it's the templates that you can use to get started on an idea. All right. Let's say I want to make an Easter design. So I can just type Easter in here into the templates. Actually, let's go Easter shirt, Easter t-shirt design. Okay. And we can look through here, and if there are designs that you think look cute and you might want to make, what we can do is, here's a simple one, this Easter egg hunt. You can grab this. Let me make it a little bigger. Okay, let's make that bigger. And it comes out as a template, and everything is separate, right? We have all our text. And let's say we wanted to change this up. We wanted to, let's get rid of maybe these eggs. I don't care for that. I don't care for that basket. And now you can, tinker with this and make it your own. In fact, let's say I just want this right here. I don't want that extra stuff, but I want, let's move the Easter egg hunt. Let's move that up here. Let's, change let's get rid of that completely, the transformation, okay? And Just move things around a little to make it a little wonky. But let's say I want this. Okay, that's it. That's all I want to do. But let's say I want this as the faux yarn style, right? Well, I just grab that template. I put it the way I want it. I'm going to hit the smartboard here and tell it to change this to a faux yarn style. Let's say like Sherpa type fabric, and let it go from there. So, you know, you can really, even using the templates, you know, you can get a starter idea. Turn off the grid. Sure. Come over here, menu, and right here under view, it says grid, and just toggle it off. How's that? Is that what you were looking for, Elaine? You can also turn on the rulers and guides in here. And you can turn on a margin. But there's the grid. Just toggle it on and off. Okay? So I do like this, but because the design had a pink background, so does our new one. So I'm going to tell it Sherpa style fabric, no background, and run it again. That was my fault because I didn't pay attention to my background being pink, and I should have known that it would make that, but we turned that off quick enough, you know, and now we'll just rerun it with no background. But that came out really cute in like the Sherpa style yarnish. Not, I guess Sherpa really isn't yarn, but it has that you know, three-dimensional textured feel. So here we go. There is our Easter egg hunt in that like knit Sherpa kind of look. And that is a really cute design, and you could absolutely, you know, use something like that. Now, this was really basic, you know, obviously, if I was going to use this as a design, I would have done a little more. But I just wanted to show you guys that we can, you know, take these templates and use them as starters for a design that we wanted to make. So I can flatten this now, turn it into an image. Come over here, remove the background. And there would be a completed design that you could download and use as a design for your shop. You know, not, like I said, not this particular one. It's really nothing that I would put in my shop, but it was just for an example. But the templates, I do think, get overlooked a lot. And it's not like they only have, you know, ones for holidays. You can come in here. There's hunting templates. There's just, if you look in here and just go into templates, you can look down through here and they have flows. They have KITTL flow templates. So you can grab some of these if you wanted to do like marketing pictures or social media pictures. I'm just going to grab this one here. It says drink label. And what it's going to do, you know, there are 21 different boards here for this one because it's a KITTL flow. You know, they're starting with one image and going on and on and on and on to making complete designs from it. So like here's the thumbnail, and they took like a can and, you know, went from there. So you can use these templates. There's a bunch of different ones. Like I said, there's the KITTL flow templates for different jobs you might want to do. But if you look through here, here's one that's all, you know, t-shirt templates. You know, they're not all, you know, what might be your style, but they can all be used as a starting point. These are definitely more, I would say, Amazon merch style templates, you know, not a lot of the like coquette and brushstroke kind of things that we see on Etsy all the time, but you could definitely modify them to be that. Or like, here's this Christmas one. This was a fairly popular kind of style at, you know, with the checkerboard and like the distressed. Let me zoom in here. All right. So this one, you could actually take this whole thing right there, hit the smartboard and say, turn this into an Easter design. Replace Santa with an Easter bunny. And it's going to, you know, recreate this design for you in an Easter theme. So if you know, like that half tone look, you know, it has the like half tones of the comic book and the like 90s, I guess, distressed sort of vibe to it. You can just immediately turn that into the Easter theme. Let's give it a second. It takes so long. Well, it feels like it takes so long. It really doesn't. I think we're just spoiled when we sit here and think it takes forever for a design to pop up for us, you know. So there's an Easter design. Hop, 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 happy Easter. And if you didn't like the colors, you could once again, you know, run this and tell it to change the color palette to a pastel Easter vibe, you know, something like that. And just have it change it again. I think I screwed that up though. I didn't make a new smartboard. We might end up with Santa in an Easter color palette now because I was not paying attention and goofed up a little. Goofed up a little bit, but we'll see. We'll see. Who knows? It could surprise me, right? I'm thinking probably not, though. I'm thinking we will end up with a pastel Santa Claus. That's what I thought was going to happen. But it's okay. You get the idea. It is hard to pay attention and talk at the same time. I can barely chew gum and walk at the same time. So paying attention to what I'm doing and talking is not always easy. All right, so that's templates, and you can absolutely use them in a ton of different ways. So we have those. Next is in the list is your text tools. In here they have obviously your standard text, but they also have some like pre-made like titles and things like that. So if you like the way something's written out, you know, you can grab one of these and then just change the text in it. They do have illustrations and shapes and things like that, like Canva does. They don't have as many. There's not even anywhere near the amount of like illustration and elements that Canva has. But I don't think, you know, I mean, I don't think it's that big of a deal, because you can generate virtually anything you want anyway. But here's just some of them. We have a bunch of shapes. Now, they do have a lot of different masks, okay? Frames is what we call them in Canva. Here, they're called masks. But the neat part is, if I come over here and they have a pen tool here, right? If I draw a shape with that pen tool, all right, so now this is a vector, okay? If I fill this, let me fill it. Okay, so you can see it. I can click this and say use as mask. So now I have that custom shaped mask. I could bring in any image here. Let's bring in this one from this morning. Let's make it bigger. Oops. And now that is placed inside of that mask. I, created a custom shape mask. I can also, instead of, when we want to make custom frames for Canva, we have to go through multiple programs in order to do it, right? We can't just take an image and say, hey, make this a frame, right? So let me look for something over here. Okay, this bunny, right? Let me upload this bunny. And I have this bunny silhouette uploaded now. All I have to do is come over here to the right, click on vectorize. I only want one color in it. Now it's going to be a vector. And now that that's a vector, I can come up here, more options, and where is it? I know I can use I have to union. I have to join everything together. Then I can use it as a mask. So then I can drop in my image as before. And now I've made a custom frame or a custom mask just from simply uploading a black and white image. Now, I mean, you could do that with a colored image. It's not going to look as nice. Let me find something here. Let's see what I've got handy, something real quick, like a vector style or just a black and white image. Let me grab something. Okay, how about this turtle here? I'm going to upload this sea turtle. We'll make it bigger. Okay, I'm going to remove the background from it, vectorize it. Now, what it will do is everywhere it's black, it will be a mask. So I can bring this in. Whoops. I have to tell it I want to use it as a mask first. Select it. Use as mask. Make my image bigger. There we go. Drop it in. And now you have, the sea turtle with that design on it. You could do this with, like a watercolor or something like that, and it would look fantastic. So it's easy to create your own masks in here, or your own frames, if you're used to Canva's terminology. But they do have a bunch, of their own that are already up here. Some nice, like, grungy shapes and things like that. And then your standard oval, rectangle, even paint splatter. So they have a lot of pre-built masks, but you can do that on your own and make whatever you want. You can make text that is a mask. Let me bring that up in here, make it bigger, and just do mask and use as mask, and it'll ask me, do I want to convert it? Yep. And then again, just bring your image, drop it in, fit it, and now you have your text has the mask on it. And if you decide you don't like that image, it's no big deal. You just come over here to the right, click on release mask, and it'll get rid of that, and you can just start all over, use as mask, and put another image in. So if you wanted to do that, there you go. So now you have your text masked. Just like that. Now make sure you choose the font you want before you convert it to a mask, okay? But if we release the mask, you know, because now it's not really text anymore. Now it's a vector shape. So always choose the font you want before you convert it to a mask. So that's a really cool feature. I love that we can make our own frames, masks, just that easily. They do have some letter ones down here, but you know, these are here from before when you couldn't make your own custom ones. That's a fairly new feature. It's only been in the last several months that you could pretty much make anything into a mask. In fact, even this like grungy shape here, this is a vector already, like this. But if we select it and we just union, make it one piece, then we can actually use that as a mask too. So anything in here, for the most part, you can convert to a mask as well. So, you know, I think that's a really cool feature, being able to make our own masks. So that's the illustrations. You know, like I said, they have a bunch of different ones. They're not nearly what Canva has, but it's not that big of a deal to me. Then you have the gallery. And this is all AI generated images and things from other users that selected to have their stuff put in here publicly. And you could grab these and modify them as you wanted to for your own needs. If you, you know, wanted, like this abstract here, this is a pretty cool design. But let's say I don't want a dog. Let's say I have this image selected, click on remix, and I could tell it to change the dog to a cat. And now it'll give me this pretty much the same image, only the guy will be walking a cat on a leash instead of the dog. So you can use anything in here and modify it to suit you. Then also you have your creations, things that you have made in here as well. So you can do that. And then next is the mock-ups. And again, I'm not a huge fan of a lot of KITTL's mock-ups, okay? But you can also change them. You know, you can choose. These are newer ones with the older people. That's really nice. It's unusual to see mock-ups with older people in them. I know we have some in the mock-up vault, but I don't think I've ever seen anywhere else give us stock mock-ups with younger or older models. Then we have, you know, here's some like mothers, you know, family related mock-ups. These are all new. So they are adding new mock-ups, because I'm telling you, just a few weeks ago when I did a video on mock-ups in here, the golden years, the love mom, they were not here. Not at all. And then you have, you know, like wall art and just a lot of different ones. This low tide is new. Earthbound is new with these different styles in here. Those are all new mock-ups that they have been adding. So that's really great. Here's Be My Valentine. So they have a lot of different mock-ups in here, and I do like how their mock-ups work, because it is similar to, okay, let's take this like 40-ounce type of Stanley tumbler, and let me make this excuse me. Let's make that a little bigger, But all you do is take your design. So let's say this one, see, we changed that to a cat. Let me make this smaller. Drop your design in right here, and it automatically gets put onto the mock-up right where you put it. You know, this is only a small one, but you can make this bigger as well. So if you wanted it to, you know, stretch, you could, and you can move things around. So you can do a lot with the mock-ups in here that I really like. Just like that. If you wanted to put that on, you know, something else, or now that it is done here, you might want to change the background on this mock-up. So you could just make a new smartboard here. Let's click that. Okay, I can't. I have to first flatten this. Okay. Once I flatten it, now I should be able to, there we go. Now that it's a flat image, it's not a changeable mock-up anymore. Once that is done, then you could pop this on an artboard and ask it to change the background. So we could, let me bring it down here. Let me zoom out again. Bring it down here to my artboard. And in here, now we could create a new smartboard. Why? What is going on? Why can't I do this? Artboard, smart. Okay, it's because there's a mock-up on here, I think. Let's get rid of that. All right. I am struggling. What do I have selected that I shouldn't? I feel like something is... I'm messing around here somewhere. I've got something that I shouldn't have selected, because this should be just fine. I don't know. But typically you would be able to change that too. I'm just not sure why it's not working there. But anyway, we have mock-ups. Then we have trending photos, you know, popular now ones that you can, again, you can use these in designs if you want to. You can use them, you know, for mock-up type images. You can modify them for designs. It's completely up to you. Anything in here is available to be used. Just like Canva, though, just like Creative Fabrica, you can't just grab something and call it yours. You know, you have to modify it. It's not yours if you haven't done something to change it. So like this, what in the world? All right, I guess when you're grabbing other things, all you can do is remix. You can't like start a flow from it, which is fine. So let's say change this to a bolder color palette and see what happens. You know, so you can change things from here too. Then you have textures. And textures are pretty much masks. They will give your design, you know, like a grungy look. If that's what you're going for, like here, if we have this image, and if we bring like this cracked texture in, you see it gives the cracked texture to the image. And then over here on the right, you have different options on how it will look. You have the standard multiply, the overlay. Then you come down through, there's a bunch of different ones. And then you have like an alpha mask, which is always pretty cool. There, it changed this to a much brighter color palette, but you can do a lot of different stuff, okay? I did change the color on this somehow because of the mask. And, you know, there's different textures you can use. So you can, and if you don't like it, you can release the texture and get rid of it. Here's another one, like with leaves. That looks pretty cool. That would look good over some text, I think. If you had a text with like a gradient, a mask like this, the pattern texture would look pretty good. And again, you can change how things look. We did hard light here, and that got rid of the image and left that texture. We have the overlay, multiply, come down through here, and there's just a bunch of different ones that you can do, you know, to get different looks. And then there's the alpha mask. You could do that one. So it's completely up to you, but I like that you can quickly release them and get rid of them. Then there are likes. So you have favorites. If you have liked something, if you see something in the gallery that you like, you can mark it as a favorite and it will show up here for you. If it was your own project, say something you made, let's scroll down through here, like this one, can tick that. Can I do it from here? I cannot remember. I don't use this a lot. But you can favorite different designs and things like that. And you can move projects, you know, move images to different folders if you want to. Then you have a brand kit where you can create your own brand kit if you typically work in the same fonts, same colors, things like that for, say, your business graphics and stuff. You can build your brand kit in here with particular styles that you like, text styles, shadow styles, things like that. And then they have a built-in chat now, which is absolutely fantastic. You don't have to jump back and forth between KITTL and ChatGPT if you want to ask it questions. So let's get rid of that. And then down here at the bottom, they moved this. This used to be over here on the left, but now it's right here at the bottom of your artboard is your image generation text box. You have generate image, remix image, generate video. And then they have like built-in styles or, you know, presets right here that you can choose if you want to. So let's say, I'm just going to ask the chat here, give me a prompt for a quick and easy Easter t-shirt design, cartoonish in style. That's all I'm going to do. I just want something real quick and easy that I can show you these cool presets. All right, so create a cartoonish t-shirt design. Now I'm going to erase t-shirt because we all know that sometimes when you tell it the type of product you want this for, you end up with the product itself. Can you add the mockups you create? No. Well, you can upload them to a listing in My Designs, but you cannot upload them for custom mockups that you can use over and over again in My Designs. My Designs only accepts PSD, Photoshop Smart Layer, Smart Object Layer files for custom mockups. But if you created mockups in here, you could absolutely upload them to the listing in My Designs, but you cannot use them as custom mockups that you could use over and over again for other products. So we have our cartoonish Easter design, and I'm just going to run this real quick in Nano 2. Just plain. I didn't use any styles or presets. Let's make this big here. And we'll give it a second. I'm going to close out that prompt, that chat box over there. But yeah, all custom mockups for my designs have to be PSD Smart Object mockups. All right, so here is the plain prompt that we were given. Okay, it's cute, nothing wrong with it. But now let's say I wanted to create this, and it depends on the model that you're using. So let's go down, let's see here, Nano Banana Pro. Where did it go? Prompt Builder. And in here are different styles that you can tell it to use, perspectives, effects, colors, lighting. So if you only knew that you wanted a, I don't know where those styles disappeared to that were down here. They just poofed on me. Let's delete that. Oh, see, here they go. There they are again. So let's say these are presets. All right, retro t-shirt design. And it's just going to give you a random one. Detailed flat retro illustration of a cat head wearing a retro astronaut helmet. But you could change that to something else if you wanted to. So they do have these fun presets. Funky text. Playful retro bubble script. Let's generate that. It says funky party. So there's a lot of fun tools in here that we didn't used to have in KITTL. I mean, a lot. We have our shape tools down here at the bottom now we can work with. Our new artboard, the pen tool to draw. There's a comment mode, our AI generation, that's where we're at now. But we can turn that on and off if you want to have more room on your artboard. Just click on it and it will open it back up. So here we have the Funk Party. Let's go to Remix. And now we have this in Remix, but we can select different styles in here, just randomness. Okay, so let's say let's turn it into like an enamel pin, you know, see what that looks like. So you can do a lot of different things in here that you weren't able to do in the past. Let's give this a second. Oh no, my tea is almost empty. I thought I had enough for the live, but I think I might have shortened myself. So this is what it looks like, is like a enameled pin. You can come in here and do, you know, a bunch of different things. It's up to you. It's just fun. Get rid of that prompt. And now you have more here. We could turn it into a watercolor effect. You know, transform this into a watercolor style. So even if that's not what you wanted, it's nice though that you have this this starter prompt here. It says transform this image into a watercolor style artwork. Well, you could replace this watercolor style artwork with faux machine embroidery, faux yarn, faux rhinestone, faux pearl, whatever you want. But you have like the starter there, and just change out the style. So there it is in watercolor. So that's all pretty cool. Like I said, it's really nice. Now it's a lot different than it used to be. There's a lot of new features. But I'm going to come back over here and I'm going to ask this to help me create a prompt for a faux patchwork style design. I want it Easter themed yet boy centric. Use camo prints for the fabric, and yeah, let's just do that. I'm just going to give him that simple thing. Give me a prompt for a faux patchwork style Easter design, Easter theme, boy centric, using camo print. So let's see what we get. And we're going to go to generate image, paste that in, and I am immediately going to patchwork Easter themed design with a boy-centric focus, earthy tones, and I am going to add in here isolated on a white background. But it's nice that that gave me that starting point, that prompt that I could look at and decide from there, you know, what I wanted to change up. And now I'm going to run it, and I'm going to leave it at Nano Pro. I'm going to run the prompt and see if there's anything we might want to change. Let's zoom in. You know, overall, KITTL's zooming has been pretty good for me today. You know, normally I struggle. I zoom in or out, and I either it ends up being 8,000. That's not what I wanted. Okay, here we go. Easter themed design with a boy-centric focus. Incorporate camo prints in the fabric patches. Okay, a faux patchwork. All right, here's what we didn't do. Here's what we did. Patchwork rabbit silhouette. That's where we made our mistake. We did not specify, and that's on me. But that's a cute patchwork pattern. You could use that. I'm going to move that off to the side. Even though it's like wonky, you know, not straight. Like, you could absolutely use that, though. I really like that. You put up that bunny silhouette that I had, and here you go. Here is a rabbit, the faux patchwork rabbit. Now, this isn't exactly, you know, what I was going for, but it is actually really nice for a boy-themed Easter design. I'm going to get rid of that because it'll be in my history. I can always grab it later if I want it. But this would be really cute for a boys kind of t-shirt or something. I love all the camo and the carrots and stuff like that. It looks really cute. So now let's delete that. Let's come here. I don't know why it's not letting me create smartboards right now. I have something somewhere going that is interfering with it. I'm not sure what, but that's okay. So here I'm going to just go to remix image, and I'm going to tell it to add some fun Easter. Here, let's just do add the words Eggmaster in a fun, bold font to the design, and just let it go from there. Boy, I am having a heck of a time here. What's going on? Oh, there we go. Oh, everything went at once. I clicked it way too many times. Well, that's okay. I guess we'll really get to see a few different variations and see which one we like more. I was just lagging for a second, and I got all rammy, jabby, jabby, and now we have 3 variations going. So Let's give it a second and see what we get here. Okay, Eggmaster, that one looks cute. This one looks cute with it down at the bottom. I think I like this one best. I like the font better in the third one. So let me get rid of those. And let's ask it to maybe change the color of the fabric in the text. Change the color of the fabric in the text to a more orange camo. Okay, so we'll do that, and we'll just, we'll just go with it. We go with the flow. Go with the flow. I do want to look here and see if I have a patchwork design downloaded that we might want to remix into something different. Okay, so there is our Eggmaster, and that's like in an orange camo, and then the bunny in the green camo. That looks good. You could use that for a design. It's a little, it's not, how do I want to say this? It's not super fancy or super bright, but I think that works for like a t-shirt design for a boy. I think a lot of times, people just automatically Easter is girl stuff, and they don't think about the boys, right? So I think that is not bad for a boy. I think a boy would wear something like that. All right, so let me look here. I am sure I have something downloaded that we can take a look at. Okay. Yes. Okay, let me upload these cherries. I can't remember. I made these quite some time ago. And they have the patchwork vibe to them as well. So we can... Oh, what in the world? Okay. I'm going to start a new artboard. There we go. Going to get rid of this one. Because with these, I should be able to start a smartboard. And I don't know why it's not letting me. What did I do wrong? Did I lock something? You know what? I'm going to reload this page. Let's reload. Sometimes that's all it takes. Sometimes that's all it takes is a refresh. Remember when I was just saying I haven't had any problems with zooming? I lied. Now I can't find my... There they are. Okay. So here is our... I'm going to delete this because that will be in my history. I can always find it if I want it later. So here, let's... Yeah, see, it must have just been something was clogged up. So I just refreshed. So let's change this, change the cherries to a Easter bunny from behind. Okay, so hopefully it will give us an Easter bunny in the like patchwork with the applique, the embroidery applique edges. This has got like a couple styles going on in it. We've got the applique look, we've got the patchwork. So hopefully we'll get like an Easter bunny out of this. That's my goal anyway. We'll see. We'll see. Are there any questions, though? Did I miss any of these features in here that you might want to touch on more while we just play with the artboards? Okay. Well, there's our bunny. I guess I should have specified lose the cherry stems. But again, we can do that. Remove the cherry stems. Put the bow on the bunny's head. Just like that. You know, and we can modify this as we go along. I do like that cottontail. That's a cute little cottontail there. But yeah, we only have about 10 minutes left, so KITTL is actually pretty good with watercolor. It was never a problem with KITTL. KITTL has always used Dolly as the generator back in the day before it added more generators. It used to be like a modified version of Dolly 3, but now, excuse me. Here, let me go into the prompt library and let me search for watercolor and find, here we go. This is a watercolor painting of orchids. So let's bring that over here and let's generate image. And then it's up to you what model you use now. See, you know, like I said, back in the day, you know, even as what, a year ago even, all you had was Dolly. That was the only option inside of KITTL. It was just maybe a modified version of it, but now they offer all the best models: Nano Pro, GPT, Nano 2, Seedream, Flux. They even have the native Recraft models in here, the new ones, Recraft 4, and then you have your older models, Imagen, Ideogram, Dolly, and then they have SDXL Flash. So what happens as far as watercolors and stuff go, that, you know, really depends on the model you choose. I am going to choose Seedream for this because I find Seedream to do watercolors quite well. It a lot of times it reminds me of Midjourney when it's generating the watercolor images, but we'll test it here and see. We can test a couple different models for how good it does in watercolor. Let's do ChatGPT. There is your watercolor in Seedream 5. And I will zoom in on these. I'm going to get rid of some of these smartboards over here. We don't need this stuff. Okay, this is ChatGPT over here. This is Seedream 5. Okay, ChatGPT, I don't know, drinking something. I'm not sure what. And then let me do some Flux Pro. But it's, you know, it's really all about the model you choose anymore. It's not KITTL itself. You know, KITTL never had an internal AI generator. It was always Dolly 3. It may have just been throttled or modified a little bit back in the day, but it's always been Dolly 3. And I mean, Dolly 3 still does some stuff nicely, but I really believe they are falling behind in the AI generation race. They are really just not keeping up. They have a particular style. They remind me of Midjourney anymore. They have a particular style that they do extremely well, but then after that, they're not real useful, you know? So I'm putting these here like this so I can move this over, zoom in a little so you can get a better look. All right, this is ChatGPT over here on the left. I think that did a great job at the watercolor style. I think Seedream 5 did a great job. This is Flux 2 Pro. I think that is amazing. And then, of course, this is Dolly. And this is Dolly's, you know, typical style that we are, you know, very used to. Almost the glossy airbrush kind of vibe out of Dolly. And again, what they do very, very well. They just don't do a lot of things well anymore. They have one particular style. I do like this Flux Pro. That came out really nicely. This one looks great. I think ChatGPT did a great job on the watercolor vibe, and so did Seedream. Seedream's is just a little bit smoother. Everything seems to be blended in just a little bit better. But this is Seedream 5 Lite too. So, you know, I maybe if I'd used 4 or 4.5, it would have been a little different. Let's look for a different one. How about one of these? This is something that Midjourney, this type of thing is something that Midjourney has always excelled at, and others have not necessarily excelled at. So let's try these four again. This will be this first one in the upper left corner is ChatGPT. Let me get there. Okay. The next one is Seedream, but I'm going to use Seedream 4.5 instead of the Lite. Then the next one is Flux 2 Pro HD. Put that down here. And then the last one will be Dolly, just like we just did. Okay. So we'll take a look at these and see what we see. Like I said, this used to be Midjourney's domain, you know, and from what I'm seeing here, Seedream, once again, I think Seedream looks good. They have that style pretty good. ChatGPT is okay. Flux 2 Pro HD is nice, but it tends to mute the colors a little bit too much sometimes, I feel. It doesn't keep the colors as bright as it could. And then, of course, Dolly, you know. And again, that is the style. That is what I expected from Dolly here. I think the closest to like Midjourney style of this would be this one here from Seedream 4.5. But it could, you know, again, it could look completely different in another model. Let's try Nano 2. See what Nano does. You know, I don't typically use Nano for like watercolor style, but you know, it could surprise us. Just never know. And you know what? I'm going to do Recraft V4 as well. That's, what am I doing? Okay. Recraft V4 is here as well. Okay, and this is why I don't typically use Nano. That's Nano 2 for the watercolor. That added way more than I was asking for. Huh, that's strange because I'm not a fan of this Nano 2 rendition. That just isn't what I was going for at all. I mean, that's funny. That's funny. But Recraft V4, I think did a really good job too of the watercolor look. I think that looks really, really nice. Let me run that in Nano Pro. Maybe, maybe that's what the difference is. Let's do Nano Pro. And we'll move it over. This is another Recraft. Because again, I got rammy, jabby, jabby. And I ran it a few times because I couldn't see where it was. It was off my screen. And I was like, oh no, it didn't run. But it really did. It was just hiding from me. So this is Nano Pro. Let's see what this one looks like. And that may be, and it does. It comes down to your prompts a lot of times. You have to prompt for the model you're using. I'm just using, a generic prompt across the board. Let's say, let's do hand-painted illustration. Hand-painted watercolor illustration. And I'm going to leave this, I'm going to change this to Nano 2. And we shall run that and see what happens, okay? Let's get rid of Nano Pro. Nano 2 here. This was the original that just said digital illustration. This says hand-painted watercolor illustration. And let's see what we get. And it is, a lot of times it is the prompt. We have to prompt for the models we're using. Sometimes the difference in 1 or 2 words will, make all the difference. So there we go. So that definitely looks better. And again, it may be that the prompt needs, worked on a little bit to match, to go with Nano a little bit better. I could feed this prompt into like Gemini and ask Gemini to give me a Nano Banana optimized prompt if I knew that was the model I was going to use to generate. In fact, I could do it right here. Take this prompt and optimize it for Nano Banana 2. Okay, so we'll see if what it says. Candy is, I'm telling you, Candy is my buddy too. She is awesome. She really rocks. Okay, so this says create a hand-painted watercolor illustration. So let's give that here and we'll see what kind of difference that makes. Asking the chat bot in here to give us a optimized prompt for Nano Banana 2. I could have gone to Candy and asked her for some clip art prompts, but I figured, I just wanted to grab random ones, and so that's not bad. It is definitely, you definitely get the watercolor feel for it. But it also, could just be the original, just the way the original prompt was written. But I do think Recraft V4 does really well here. That looks great. I think Sea Dream does a very nice job at watercolor as well. So if I was going to do watercolor inside of KITTL here, I would absolutely be using Sea Dream or probably Recraft V4. And this is the regular Recraft, not the Pro. All right. So that's, and then of course, you always have this dolly style, this soft, almost ethereal style that Dolly is known to put out, which is very pretty. There's nothing wrong with it. but it's very Dolly. You know, you always know what was generated with Dolly, you know. So are there any other questions today? Like I said, I guess we didn't really get through as much as I wanted to. We played around a little bit with the bunny, but not much. But it is nice how you can just take, you know, an image and just pop it in here and change it up in any way you want, and you have the choice of so many different models. Now, when I do remixing, I almost always use Nano or ChatGPT. Nano is really probably the one I use most when I want to modify an image. Like we did the, let me go into my generated folder here. And this is why I wasn't worried about deleting stuff, because everything I generated is in here in this folder that I can just pop up and bring it back out whenever I need to. If I don't want to bring out the design, I can click on these three little dots here and click details, and it will give me the prompt I used and the model that was used. I can recreate right from this folder. I can use, you know, click use image, and it'll pop it in to my artboard as well. But I think, you know, I think this little bunny is kind of cute. Like this pattern right here, I wanted to save that because I may want to make, I may ask it to create a seamless background, a seamless paper from this. That way, you know, I could use this to fill in if I was working in like Affinity or something. Even in here, use it as, you know, something with a mask. I could use this in a mask of some sort, you know, in a bunny silhouette to make, you know, others like this. So I, you know, I think it did a really good job. I do like this bunny. I mean, when you figure we started out with a couple cherries, you know, and this is what we got 2 prompts later, I think it looks really good. I think it did a great job. Like I said, this one, I'm going to have it create a seamless pattern out of it, so I can use this as a background, or, you know, as a flood fill layer inside of Affinity, Photoshop, anywhere, even in here to use with a mask. Like I said, I could come up here, not here, come in here and find a mask. I might want this for like a background for something. Let's pop this out, bring it over here, make this mask bigger, and let's say send it backwards. And now there is our patchwork in that mask, and you could use this for a background for another design or something like that if you wanted to. But I just really like this. It almost looks flannel. I don't know if you can see it real well through the computer, but I get like a flannel or fleece vibe from this. I think more flannel. So I do like this background it made. So I figured I'd save that and use it in something like this. I can release the mask, get rid of that, you know. But there's just so much we can do in here now. Now I've got everything froze up again. I'm just lagging really bad today. It's, I think it's the rainy weather here. You know, everything is slow. So we'll get rid of that. But that is KITTL now in a nutshell, people. I mean, there is just so much you can do with it. How did I create the patchwork design? I had an image that I created months and months and months ago, and I just brought it in here, and I asked it to change my cherries. I'll bring it in, I'll show you real quick. I started with this image of cherries, and I asked it to transform that, change the cherries into a bunny silhouette from behind, and then I asked it to get rid of the cherry stems and put the bow on top of the bunny's head. And that's all I did. I just took this image of cherries and told it to change it. Okay. We can do that. Here's a butterfly I downloaded. I grabbed this screenshot earlier. I'm going to remove the background from this. I'm going to put it up here on this artboard. Has to be on the artboard. And then I am going to create a smartboard here, the purple button. Click that. Change this butterfly to an Easter bunny silhouette from behind. And just send it in and let KITTL do this. It will do this for me. Now I can prompt for this patchwork. I have prompts for it. I'm pretty sure somewhere in the prompt library or in the community somewhere. But this is an easy way to do it too. Just take an existing design that's already in the style you want and ask KITTL to change it into the image you want to have. In this case, I want the bunny. I'm glad too. It's really pretty simple. Here we go. So here's our bunny now. There it is. Let's make this a little bigger. Oh, I can't make it bigger. I have to flatten it. Okay. Now I can make it bigger. There we go. There is the patchwork bunny now that we made from this patchwork butterfly. And from here, we could change it even more. We could send out a new smartboard from this one. And let's say change the fabric to camo themed. Okay, and go from there. Now we would have, this cute bunny and almost like, what do they call it now? Like the grandma core with the little gingham squares and the different fabric. But now we've asked it to change it to a camo themed fabric that you could, again, it would be appropriate for like a boy's Easter shirt, or even even a girl's. I know lots of girls who love camo. Everybody loves camo anymore. So let's let this one generate quick, and then so there's our camo bunny, and he is absolutely adorable. And I would remove the background now. And KITTL's background remover has improved dramatically over the last several months as well. I wanted to say that, some days it can still be pretty aggressive, but it is a lot better than it used to be. You get more right than you get wrong now. Many months ago, it was more wrong than right because it was so aggressive and it took so much out of the image, but it's getting a lot better. A lot of times, though, if it's a real intricate design, I still a lot of times will use another platform, depending on the design as I choose which platform. Oh, I'm so glad. I'm so glad because I mean, KITTL is actually, I think it's a fairly easy program to use. It has a lot of tools in it. I do know that. And I know it can be overwhelming, but once you start getting into it, it's really not bad. This design here, before we sign off, I wanted to show you something, okay? I'm going to turn this back upright. Okay, this is the way this design came out, right? So what we could do, let me get rid of this bunny. Let's move them all over here In fact, let's delete some of these. Let's close this out. I want my artboard. This is what I want. A lot of times to do things, you know, certain jobs have to be done on an artboard. They can't be done off by themselves. The flattening, when you create the smartboard, okay, like this is basically, it's not a vector, okay? It's just like an image in limbo. It's just a design. But once you click on the flatten, then it turns it into a raster image that you can move, and you know, you can do more things with it. Like I said, we could remove the background. Now you can download it as a PNG file and stuff like that. When it is an AI image board, it's kind of somewhere in the middle. It's not really, I don't even know how to describe it. It's not an image, but it is an image. Before you can really work with it, you just have to flatten it and turn it into a raster image, and then you can do what you want. But on this artboard, you know, it made this wonky, right? Well, I can come over here and click reframe, and I can choose how I want this to be reframed. Say I want it to make this image even bigger. You know, I want it to expand out. If you had something cut off. Now, I'm not sure it's going to work with this because of the way this is. But let's just say this bunny, let's say you created this bunny and his ears were cut off at the edge of the image. You can hit the reframe and it will regenerate your image and expand it, you know, to get all of the ears into it. But we'll see. We'll see. I just wanted to test it with this fabric because it was, and it did. And I was afraid of that. I mean, it did make it a little longer, but it didn't fix it the way I had hoped it would. So what I'm going to do is I am just going to turn this way. And then I'm going to make it a little bigger. Just like that. And I am just going to save this like that. That's my design. That's what I want. I want it just like that. So now I have that here. I can now tell this to give this a different color palette, more green and brown, and it'll give me the same design in a bit different colors. Okay, and then I can show you again. We can look at the image board images and what is going on with them, you know, before we flatten them. We have a lot of limitations, what we can do before we flatten. It used to be called, and they just changed this not long ago, and I kind of wish they would have let it go because it made more sense. Instead of flatten, it used to say convert to image, and now it doesn't. So this is just here. It's, like I said, it's kind of in limbo. It is taken from this original design over here, and we're here with it, but it's not on its own. It doesn't stand by itself. There's really nothing we can do with it the way it is right now. We can flatten it, or like I said, prior to just a couple months ago, flatten would have said convert to image. And that's all we're doing. When we say flatten, we are just converting this to a standalone image. That's it. That's all we do. That, you know, that's what it is. It converts it to a raster image for us that we can now download and save as, you know, a PNG or whatever we want to. Alrighty. Okay, guys. So I think I'm going to cut it off here. If you do have any other questions, drop them in the community, drop them in the comments here in the video, and I'll answer you as soon as I can. I hope you guys found this helpful. If you did, take a second to like and subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. I hope you guys have an amazing day, and I'm going to see you guys next Thursday. Leave some comments and let me know what you might want to do for next Thursday's live. Give me some ideas, and we'll go from there. So have a great day, and I'll see you next week.